Well, as a licensed professional counselor that looks at scripture as well as psychology to see a perfect blend, well, Brady, why would you do that? Well, Jesus spoke about neurology and psychology a ton. If we don't think so, look at even just some of his last messages as he hung on the cross. Father, forgive them. They don't even know what it is that they do. Well, that echoes Freud's work. Well, I guess better yet, Freud echoed Jesus' work. And you may sit there and say, Brady, how can you connect Freud and Jesus? Because they both were articulating the message of conscious, subconscious, unconscious. And what we can find is through the message of Jesus and oriented through psychological theoretical frameworks, that the two really can point to one another. That the psychological insights point, as long as they are based in truth, point to the fundamental truths of Scripture and the message of Jesus. What does it look like by having subconscious, there we go, right hand, as well as conscious, assimilated in attunement with one? The message of Christ about who he says that we are, and that being utilized through the tools and techniques of a trained clinical counselor. And what we find through passages like Psalms 2, which is first and foremost a Messianic Psalms, a prophecy about Jesus Christ as the anointed king over all creation. And what we find that it is actually quoted 4 times in the New Testament, as well as woven all throughout the early church's most desperate times, as well as desperate articulations of prayers. But, like all scripture, what this truth reveals is about the human heart speaks to every corner of our lives, including our marriages. The true reflection of true masculinity and true femininity coming together in oneness to reflect the goodness of God. So as we look at Psalms 2 through the lens of clinical as well as biblical counseling, beginning with its primary messianic meaning, as well as then drawing it out what it says about the human's heart and its fundamental resistance to authority. And how that same resistance shows up or could show up inside a struggling marriage. So the question is, why do the nations rage? Now, we need to understand David is not angry when he asks it. I believe he is genuinely astonished. And after 19 years of sitting across from people that are hurting, they are hurting to embrace, they are hurting to connect. This is the very question that I ask as well. 2 people who love each other, raging against the very covenant that is designed to cover and protect them. And what we've come to understand is the answer is the same. You see, the human heart resists being governed by anything outside of itself if it's not submitted. In nations, in marriages, as well as in all of us. And at the end, what we find is an invitation. The Psalms and the same invitation that we as clinicians give every couple that we sit across from. Come off the throne. Don't sit in that chair. You weren't designed. It wasn't meant for you. Take refuge. Blessed are those who take refuge not in himself, but in him. If you find yourself in a time that is struggling, reach out to help. Visit counseling@numa.com for more information, resources, a marriage assessment, emotional inventories, all the things that God has created and designed is for you to create awareness to empower the will and our willingness. Now that I'm aware, what is it that I want and how do I start moving forward to that? We don't have to get it right overnight. We really don't have to get it right at all, as long as we are submitted unto him, the one who is right and is good. Then as a result of that, we move closer to his goodness as he has already moved closer to us, so that we can embrace what Psalms 2 encapsulates by acknowledging him in all things, especially in our humanism, by submitting our heart and expressing that to our spouse.